Hey everybody, I'm Jack Reedy with Future Pastimes. I'm the designer of The Adventures of Conan, which is a new game from Gale Force 9. And in this video, I wanted to go over the player guide that is going to exist for each character. That is a player aid and strategy guide for each of the characters. So we're going to take a look at the Conan one. So it's a fairly sizable thing, but it's got stuff on the inside and stuff on the back that you will be using. So on the inside, there is a pretty detailed strategy guide that you can read before your first time playing. You can refer to it throughout. It's got some details on the different sections. It just really gives you some insight into what you should be doing as Conan as you're playing through the game. So it focuses on ways to earn victory points, what you should be trying to do in adventures and encounters, why you want to buy more dice, and other ways that you can score victory points. But the thing you're going to be using the most is going to be the back of the player guide, because it's going to have a number of different bits of information that is going to be especially useful. This in particular, you're going to be referring to in the main phase because it gives you an outline of everything you can do. And there's some additional stuff. It tells you about some of the other symbols, what they do, free action where you're able to spend gold to roll a local kingdom die, how much gold you get if you roll the gold symbol on a kingdom die, what the skull on the kingdom die does, stuff like that. There's a dice summary here that lets you know the different symbols that are on each of the dice. But like I said, this is the main thing. So it's going to break down all the different actions that you can do in this phase. And for each of the results, there are, for Conan anyway, there's two possibilities. But you're going to notice there's this little arrow thingamajig here down the side. And that has to do with one of the very first things that you can do. So remember, every character has a unique symbol that only they can roll. It's their character symbol. And in the main phase, your character symbol is a little bit like a wild. You can use this symbol for all of these symbols that it's pointing to. Can't use it for a scry and for a sorcery. So that's unique to Conan. If it's a foe, they can do all of these actions, but they can do sorcery as well. Still not scry. And an ally can do all of these, and they can do scry, but not sorcery. So a little bit of a nuance there for each character. But this action is called deploy. So what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to count this character symbol as one of these other symbols. And there are some minor restrictions, especially or in particular with the 3 achievement symbols. So remember, there's an achievement track for Thief, Pirate, Warrior. And if you are in a kingdom with that attribute, if you're Conan or an ally, you can spend these dice to move up on that attribute track. But you can't deploy to do that. So that is the one restriction on there. But let's say that you want to move and you didn't roll any move symbols, but you did roll a character. You can deploy that to move. So you're still spending that die, you're spending that character, but you're spending it as a move action. Similarly, if you're like, oh, I want to do a kingdom action, but you roll the character, you can deploy it to kingdom. Also importantly, if you're in a fight or a duel, you have to form a warrior pool, and you're going to take all of your warrior results as well as any wilds, and that's the star symbol. But you can also deploy your characters to warrior to form that pool. But it's only good for forming the pool. Once you roll those active dice to try to see how many warrior symbols you roll, rolling a character at that point doesn't do you any good. You have to keep rolling warrior symbols or wilds, which count as whatever symbol you want. So that's it. That's the one thing you're going to be doing the most with the character. The other, of course, is you can spend them to advance on the plot track. But the number of dice is going to be equal to the chapter number you're advancing to. So it's going to fewer dice earlier. Later on, if you're doing it, you're using a lot more dice to do that. Now, of course, nobody has the trade symbol on there, but you can deploy to trade. And you've got a couple of options there as Conan. And all of these things you can do. So you can deploy it to Thief in order to steal gold. You can deploy it to pirate in order to sail from a kingdom with that attribute to another one with that attribute. And of course, we talked about the warrior pool that you can do. So that's what you're going to be referring to this. And like I said, it's slightly different for the other characters. So, and you can see right here that this is the ally one, and it does deploy to scry. And you can see that the foe one, it deploys past scry, but to sorcery. And you can see that the foe and the ally, they don't have the exact same things that they can do. So you can see the foe can't do that advance on the achievement tracks. That's not an option for the foe, but the ally can certainly do it. And there are a couple other little minor differences, like if you're doing a move action, Conan's doing a move action, he can move a fate token or move himself. But the other characters can't move fate tokens. They can move challenge tokens. So there's some little bit differences, and that's why each character is going to have one of these. And you'd be like, all right, you know, what do I want to do? And there's strategies for the other characters as well, and what their dice can do there. So those are the character guides, or the character guides for the game. If you have any questions about that, let me know in the comments. And or anything having to do with the Adventures of Conan, or really anything. You can ask me whatever you want. That's it for this one, everyone. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.